Welcome. Let's start this again, shall we? Welcome to Evolve. Welcome to Evolve. I'm really excited that you're here live. Thank you. Thank you for watching the replay. If you're watching the replay, I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping. So as I said, mic's off. This is before I was recording. Video on if possible for this connection piece. I'd love for you to be in the chat as much as possible, asking whatever questions you need to ask, knowing that I may not answer them till the end, because sometimes it takes me off on a tangent. And those tangents can go far and wide, and we have like quite a lot to cover already today. But also just connecting in the chat is really important. And even if you're on the replay, just being really intentional with your energy whilst watching this, because this is going to be all about how you can be intentional with your energy. And if you're sharing in the chat or asking questions in the chat, you're actually really embodying and starting to ground in some of these concepts that I'm going to be speaking to. So yeah, be as prevalent as you want in the chat. I love that. And I will come to it at the end. You may find that your questions are answered by the end, but if not, I'll go through them and we can answer them together. I'm going to deliver the main bulk of this masterclass, and at the end I'm going to do the Q&As. But just before I do the Q&A, I want to explain and give you an opportunity to take this work deeper. And I'm going to invite you to join me in a complimentary energy consultation call, right? It's a precursor to working with me in a longer term container, but it's just an opportunity for us to connect on a deeper level through an energy call. And I'll explain that at the end. And if it's not for you, absolutely fine, but it's there if you want it. So what are we going to be exploring today? So firstly, I want you to know that a lot of what I'm going to be speaking to is I'm going to be speaking to energy, and maybe not in the ways that you understand, or maybe you don't understand energy at all, or maybe you're like really well versed in energy. Just allow it to wash over you and just know that you're going to be taking exactly what you need to take from this, right? But what we're going to be exploring today is how to navigate change in your life with as much certainty and ease as possible by bringing your awareness to the magic that you hold in your energy, right? Yes, you're human, you're flesh and bone, but your most valuable asset is your energy. It's what's hiding in the unseen, right? Because you don't see your energy, but you can feel your energy, right? And hopefully by the end of this call, you're going to have had some perspective shifts, right? That in itself is powerful, and it's something that I live for. Like working with my clients, when they get a perspective shift, a real aha moment, that's when the change really happens, right? So hopefully you're going to experience some of that just by being part of this call, right? You're also going to get a taste of things that you can go forth and then change for yourself, right? In your actual real life. You can start to live in your highest potential as a human and as an energetic being, right? So right now, some of you may be feeling stuck. Some of you may be feeling frustrated. Some of you may be feeling tired, overwhelmed, scared about what's going on in like the wider world and maybe even in your micro world, scared about where life is heading, and also like unsure about your ability to kind of move with life and move in the right direction that gives you the best outcome for you and your family, right? Tell me, where are you at right in this moment in time? Like there's no right or wrong answer, and we always ebb and flow and shift in who we are, right? In how we feel. So if you're feeling stuck, tell me. If you're feeling excited and really empowered, tell me, because this is going to as you ground into that, it's going to help you as you move forwards with this process, right? Into this masterclass. So personally, I'm going to share with you where I'm at, right? Now, even though my zone of genius is energy, like right now, I'm in a void, right? I'm navigating huge change in my life. and I love it, right? The difference is I'm like one of those freaks that loves change, that loves transformation, that has learned how to navigate change to the point where I don't see it as a block or something to fear, right? Being an energy worker, I know how to shift my energy like this, right? And what I struggle more with is birthing those energetic changes into a physical reality, right? Making those changes really grounded into my human, into my real life, right? There's more people coming in. 1 second. Oh, Adrian, on the edge of something bigger with things I'm not usually comfortable with. Adrian, I'm feeling where you're at, right? That's where I'm at. And I think actually just with the energy of the world at the moment, so many people are on that kind of teetering on that edge of huge change and growth that's starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable. And so, this class is going to be perfect for that. Hi, Jem, welcome. So, yeah, like I can change energetically like this, and I've learned so much, especially in the last 2 years, of how to then action that change in my reality. And I've mastered it now. I've mastered how to bring my energetic changes into my real world. But right now, I'm in the void. I'm in the place of really needing to kind of settle into my energy and really not do much, and just allow the changes to occur, which is not what we're comfortable with as humans. But I'm going to be speaking more to like that journey of change in a moment, right? So just know where you're at now and how you're feeling now. You have everything that you need within you to make that feel better. If it's feeling uncomfortable, you have everything that you need. Yes, I might be the one sharing some of that wisdom with you, but everything that I'm going to be speaking to, you're going to know on a level, right? You're going to know on an energetic level. Your energy is going to respond. The whole reason that you're here, that you signed up, that the 40 people that signed up for this masterclass have signed up, is because something spoke to them, right? Anyway, before we dive fully into the magic, I want to introduce myself, because there's actually lots of new people that have come into my world because of Evolve, and I'm thankful. Welcome. And there's lots of people that have been working with me before or in my world for a while also signed up. So again, thank you for being here. I'm Maria, and I'm a master energy healer, and I'm a life coach. I'm a life transition coach, and I've been working with energy professionally for over 10 years. I'm a Reiki master, like by certificate, but I don't really follow the kind of that doctrine anymore, right? I've spent the last 5 to 6 years working independently with energy, like working with it independently on myself first, and really understanding how energy moves and how energy responds to the world and how you're in relationship with your energy. I've spent the last 5-6 years really honing that in, and like working with energy is my zone of genius. It's what I love doing. It's how I lead myself through my own life, and it's how I best support other people. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I always knew that I was more than a human being, right? So I've been aware of my ability to work with energy since I was a child. Like I've always known that there was my human side, and then there was my more energetic, magical side, right? And we all do as children. And then we forget, right? Because it's not nurtured, and we get conditioned out of it, and we get conditioned into just believing that we are this one-dimensional human being. But there's so much more. There is so much more to you than you realize. Like your potential for life, for creating life, is limitless, right? It's limitless. So I want to kind of like speak to that a little bit, in that like when you don't understand that you don't connect to the fact that you're a divine intelligent being as well as a human, and you don't bring the two together, you are leaving so much on the table, so much of your potential, so much of your energy, so much of your time, like your most precious commodity, so much of your time, so much like money, so much depth in relationship, right? There's so much that we're missing out on. And this is why I wanted to create this masterclass, was to give people a taster, because I don't think many of us realize, until we have that experience with energy, until we have that experience with our multidimensional selves, with another aspect of ourselves, with this ability to be human and also be something far greater and bring the two together. And that's the key. I've worked with I know so many people who are really adept in understanding what energy is, very spiritual people who work in those realms, but who really find it difficult to be human, right? To be able to walk that human life and ground in change and ground in a new reality. And then I also know and work with a lot of people who aren't that sure about their energy, don't really understand the true depths of their energetic potential, their energetic intelligence also. And so who are really stuck in their human, right? So bringing the two together is what this whole class is about. And it's really what my whole purpose is about. How I am of service, how am I of service, right? What I want you to know is that you're already unconsciously, some of you, us hyperlogical people, yes, Adrian, hyperlogical, like you're already unconsciously living as energy. You can't not, because you're 99.9% energy. Like every moment that you experience is a projection of your own energy. That energy that you're commanding inside of you, it gets played out in your reality, right? This moment is a reflection of your energy. You chose at some point to be here, and so you're here, right? And you're commanding your energy mostly unconsciously, based on your values, based on your beliefs, based on your conditionings, based on your past, right? We process via our past and determine what's good, what's bad, what's safe, what's not safe, right? We're very intelligent beings as humans, right? But we're all about processing. And we've been conditioned to process from our past. Because how can we know what to process when we haven't even figured, we haven't experienced that thing yet? So when we're processing from our past, we're using our instinct, right? And your instinct is based on your survival. So you're reading your instincts is, yes, it's energetic work, but it's really, it's kind of like the most basic way of working with your energy. Being in your intuition, which is not based on your past, which is not based on your conditionings. It's based on the fact that you can connect to that energy of yours that is multidimensional, that is divine, that is living in lots of different places and times at the same time right now. When you can connect to that energy, that's your intuition. And working with that is completely different to just being in your human, right? Have I still got you? So you're already living as an energetic being, right? You wake up in the morning, you have your morning routine, you brush your teeth, you have your breakfast, or you don't, whatever your routine is. Your energy is unconsciously leading you through that process, right? Because you've done it over and over and over. It's routine, it's safe, you're on autopilot. Your energy is actually propelling you forwards. The difference comes when you become super aware of what's going on in your energy, super aware of all the unconscious things that are happening. Like, why am I actually eating this for breakfast? And intentionally changing how you do things so that it better reflects the life that you want to live, right? I want to also say that you don't have to have a spiritual practice or be spiritual necessarily to connect with that divinely intelligent part of you. It's already there. It's in the very nature of who we all are. And there's this fallacy that, you know, some people are gifted and can connect to it. No, what I do with energy, you can do with energy, right? And that my whole like being of service is teaching you how to do that, right? Is allowing you to remember how to be an energy and a human at the same time, how to read your own energy, how to detach from the things that aren't doing you any service, how to connect to the things that are going to propel you forwards in the direction that you want to. Like, you can do that, right? And yes, it's magical, but it's real, right? And it's true. And you're doing it already. You're just doing it unintentionally. And often when we're doing it unintentionally and we're doing it unconsciously, that's when we get stuck in patterns. That's when we get stuck in stories. That's when we're just being navigating our lives through conditioning, through what is expected of us, through what our parents think we should be doing, to what society thinks, whatever box society's put you in. You know, depending on your race, color of your skin, your religion, whether you're a man or woman, or whether you're, you know, you don't identify with being male or female, whatever box society puts you in, like, that's the place from which you go forth and create your life. And that box is so limiting. That box don't mean shit, right? Because you are so much more than that. You're actually a walking miracle, right? You're a walking miracle because you are capable of miracles. And a miracle isn't like a dead body coming back to life or a person who can walking again. Of course, those are miracles. I've never witnessed that. I don't know if that's possible. I'm sure it is, because anything is fucking possible in this world, right? But a miracle is actually just a huge perspective shift into seeing what's actually truly possible for you and then claiming it, right? A miracle is a perspective shift that takes you from one reality and opens up a whole new world of possibility for you. And it can happen in an instant. And I'm hoping you're going to have some of those shifts, if you haven't already, today during this class. And I know the clients that I'm currently working with and have worked with in the past, to be fair, they'll be like, holy shit, that one thing that you just shifted for me has allowed me to go forth and do so many things that I didn't think were possible and create so much in my life that I didn't know was possible, right? And it all comes from shifting your perspective. Be fluid, right? With your perspective. Rigidity and only seeing life in a way or a series of ways. Yes, it keeps you safe. That's why we do it. Our unconscious does it because it keeps us safe. But it also can keep you stuck, right? So most of our human problems stem from actually not really fully understanding what it means to be human and what it actually also means to be a deeply intelligent soul, right? That's where our problems come from actually not knowing the extent of our humanness and knowing that rigidity is keeping us stuck, and actually opening up to miracles, perspective shifts, things being different. Because the way that you see the world as an individual is completely different to how everyone else sees it. The way that you approach the world is completely different to how everyone else approaches it. Because your experience of life has been completely different to everybody else's. Yet we're all trying to conform and we're all trying to do the same things and have the same outcomes. And it's just not possible. Like, that in its is the very definition of suffering. And that's why as a society, we're suffering, right? Because we are trying to conform, because there's so many conditionings about being independent, going it alone, speaking your own truth. And this is something that I have done in my life, right? Say 5 years ago, I would have found it very difficult to have this conversation online, sending it out to 40 people and speaking this truth, because there were so many conditionings around, mate, you're crazy. Like, what are you talking about? No, this is the way that life is. Life is no other way than this. A lot of those judgments were coming from myself, right? From my conditionings and my beliefs, but there were judgments coming from other people. And you have to get to a point where, and this is part of this work, right? Where you're owning who you are as a human and owning who you are as an energetic being. It's where you own who you truly are in all the ways that you're different to everybody else. And that's one of our humans' biggest fears, is being different to everyone else, because we have this like real programming, ancient programming, that if we're different to everyone else, we're going to be outcast from the community, we're not going to have food, we're not going to have shelter, and we're going to die. But it's not true, right? It's not true. I've got some notes that I'm reading from, right, that I'm kind of making sure that I hit notes on, and I've got a side note here. And I want to talk about being a multidimensional being, right? You've got your human, but what do I mean about being an energetic being? I mean that you're multidimensional. I mean that your energy spans across all time and space in perpetuity, like always. Your energy doesn't die. So much science around energy, right? Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It just transmutes, it shifts, and it moves. So when your physical being dies, your energy goes forth, carries on. Where it goes to, that's something that people can argue about. Religion can argue about that, whatever. That's not my zone of like authority. My zone of authority is making you understand and realizing that you are a multidimensional being, meaning you can time travel, right? Just visualizing your future, closing your eyes, going into your body, like visualizing a time that you went on holiday, feeling those feelings of that holiday, seeing the beach in front of you, hearing the waves crashing on the shore, right? You've taken your energy back to a place in time. You've time traveled, right? Your vision board, what you're visualizing for the future, how you visually see your life. You're time traveling, right? And this is a concept that we're like, well, humans can't time travel. Well, it's nuanced. Physical human body can't time travel. No, I can't take myself back to that exact moment on that holiday on that beach, living blissfully. But I can take my energy there, right? And it's that depth and it's that nuance around energy that is missing, because there's so many new age spiritual concepts, right, about energy that lack the depth and lack the nuance that is really important to me, that I'm going to be speaking to you about today. And that's why things don't seem to work, or why people never seem to ground in what they've learned, right? Where things actually don't change. All of this stuff around manifestation, where it's like, oh, I'm writing down my 100 things that the 100 sentences that I am a wealthy woman. Like, you're not going to be a wealthy woman just by doing that. There's so much more depth to your energy, right? And that's why I wanted to bring it up, this idea of time traveling. You don't believe that you can time travel, but you can, right? You can. A lot of what you're going to hear me speak about, you're probably not going to hear a lot of it being spoken to in the same way that I do. But like, it's all about perspective shift. The foundation of the power of the work that I do, if you've worked closely with me, you'll know, is that I support you to perspective shift. And that is the most life-changing thing, right? So just even if you take that one thing away from this class in your life, how can I shift my perspective on this right now? It's going to change a lot for you. So I'm going to give you a taster of some perspective shifts around what it means to be human and what it means to be in your divinely intelligent energy. And then and how being in the two together can really shift things for you. I want to give you a personal example first of what I mean when I talk about miracles, right? But first, just let me know how this is landing with you, how this feels for you. Does it resonate? And any questions that are coming up, allow them to come up and pop them in the question box, and I'll answer them at the end if they don't get answered as we go through. So I'm going to time travel you back to when I was 25 years old. I was 25 and I was having a quarter life crisis, right? And right now I can laugh about it, but at the time, holy shit, like it felt like my whole world was kind of crumbling. I had a 25th birthday party at my house. It was a fancy dress party. And I got so drunk that I concussed myself, smashing my face off a radiator whilst I was dancing. Clearly, I've got some moves, right? And in that concussion, like I kind of blacked out for a bit. And when I came to, I was talking to like my best mate who lived with me at the time. And I was just in floods of tears. And I was just telling her how unhappy I was and telling her how like all these things in my life didn't fit. And she just looked at me and she was like, I would never have guessed that about you. Like everything seems absolutely fine, right? And up until that moment, everything was so fine for me too, right? The energy inside of me knew something different, but my human had no fucking idea. I had no idea. Let me give you an insight into, I was 25. I was working in the TV industry. I pretty much, TV work, it was really hard to get into. I got into it. I was really good at it. I was working my way up the ladder. TV work is generally, it's contract based, but I basically had a rolling contract. I was making good money. I was in a relationship with a guy I'd been in a relationship with for like 5 years. We lived together with our best friends who were also in a couple. We were having fun. It all seemed great. But somewhere deep inside, that intelligent, energetic part of me was like, no, this is not right. And I wasn't aware. My human wasn't aware. Why? Because I was drinking lots. I was partying lots. I was watching lots of TV. I was, generally distracted by work. I just wasn't allowing myself to come into the body and really feel the feelings until I was forced into it by getting so drunk on homemade punch that I concussed myself. And coming to from that moment, I was like, okay, right, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do? And in my head, it's like, well, what can you do? Why would you do anything? And I had my parents' voice. Why would you leave your job? Why would you leave your partner? Why would you change this life? I had everybody's projections and also society's projections of like, what's the point in making change if everything is good? Just stick with it, right? But something deep inside said no. I didn't know what that something was. Now I know that it's my highest self, that it's that divinely intelligent part of me that we all have that's constantly communicating with us if we care to listen. And that part of me was course correcting me. And she had to do it by smacking my face off a radiator so I concussed myself so I could get to that point where I could hear it. And what transpired in literally within a month, I left the city I was in. I moved to London. I had nowhere to live. I had no job. I left like a rolling contract at a company that was not nurturing me. And I was thrusting myself into a London life. Most people would be like, that's insane. What are you doing? And I was literally only guided by this knowing inside that it was what I needed to do, right? And once I got there, everything exploded into what I can only describe as the time of my life, right? I had the time of my life and everything synchronistically fell into place. because my energy was on board with this new process. I was making decisions, and by making decisions, I was telling life what I needed it to do for me, and it was doing it. I found a flat in the most amazing part of London that should have cost me twice as much as it cost me, and I was paying half the rent. I got jobs in TV that kind of catapulted my career into being a director, a female director, which, you know, was tougher. I was hanging out with really cool people. I was going to really cool parties and so on and so forth. It was just fucking amazing at the end of the day. And it was nothing that I would have achieved staying in the life that I was in already, right? It was nothing until I trusted that inner knowing. Now, most people don't get this opportunity just to start trusting that inner knowing, right? It comes as a slower process. And this is why I know that it's my life's work to do this, right? And to support people in doing this. I've embodied this way of living, right? This way of evolving, this way of transitioning. I love it. And it's not for everyone, but everybody needs to learn how to move through change, because change is inevitable. You're always growing, you're always changing, you're always evolving, you're always aging, right? And your lack of understanding how to do it efficiently is leaving a lot on the table for you, as I mentioned earlier. Time, your most precious commodity, your energy, your most valuable asset, joy, ease, love, money, all the things are being left on the table by not knowing and embracing how to move through change. Like, everything is harder when you don't intentionally and consciously know how to move through change, right? And especially over the last few years, since the pandemic, change has been forced upon us. And that forcing of change has allowed us to, well, has made us feel massively out of control, hugely out of control. But I want you to know that you can control your life. Right? That's something that people are like, oh, control is toxic. You can't control your life. Life is your destiny, and it takes you wherever it needs to take you. Not what I believe, right? Control is nuanced, as everything is nuanced. And that's another one of my huge philosophies around life, is like, everything is nuanced. Everything has depth and a richness, and everything has polarity, right? You can control things from a place of fear, worrying what's going to happen, projecting that it's not going to work out, projecting that if you don't control, then things are going to go badly. Feel the energy of that. That is such constrained energy, right? That is such an energy of lack and fear. Or you can control your life by learning everything about yourself as a human and as an energy, and understanding how each of those parts of you works, knowing which of those parts of you are the most efficient parts of you to move forwards with, learning how to detach from everything else, and controlling how you approach life, how you respond to life. The energy of that is so different. It's so much more expansive, right? Again, it's about your perspective. It's about how you see things. It's about the nuances. You can control your life. It's just about managing your energy and your human. Managing the energy that you put into something. If you're putting into something with that fear and that lack, what you're going to get back is that fear and that lack, right? You might say to me, Maria, I'm doing all the things I've been told to do towards this thing that I want to change, but it's not working out. But what's the energy that you're doing it in? And where was that energy created? And in what part of your inner world is it locked into? Is it part of something you learned as a child, and so you're really connected to it and you come back into your childlike ways doing that? Is it something that you started to believe when you were frustrated and angry, and that you're coming at it with that energy? Start to really bring attention to your energy and how you're kind of coding everything that you do in your life. Your energy, your frequency, your vibration codes your actions, right? Does that make sense? So there's also this belief of like, well, I can't control what's going on in the outside world. How can I control the chaos that's happening in the outside of the world, outside world? Well, what you're letting it do is control you first and foremost, right? So you can already shift that up. There are so many people that come to me and they are like, oh my God, we've discovered all these truths about, I'm a truth seeker. Who isn't? Like I want to know the truth. And over the last few years, there's been more and more truth seekers that have become aware of this whole new like situation in the world, and they've awakened to things, right? And that awakening has created fear. And so they're like, oh my God, we live in this world and we've brought children into this world. And what are we going to do? And they're just collapsing into chaos. But we can't control it because it's the outside world. And they're dreaming about this new world, this new earth, this 5D, right? But that's not going to get created until you create it. Things aren't going to change in the outside world until you create it. Even if you're thinking about having a better world, living a better future, until you start taking the action of doing that in this present moment now, it's never going to happen, because we're all sitting around waiting for someone to come and create this world for us, right? We are the pioneers of that time. And that feels daunting, like, oh my God, that's a responsibility. But don't see it as that. See it as that you're the pioneer of your life. And when you start to shift your life to come more into alignment with what feels good for you, with your values, your true values, with what really feels good to you, only then will the outside world shift and change. But also you can make a decision to not live like that. Like, for instance, I took my family to Costa Rica for 3 months over the winter because I just knew life in London was about to get a whole lot fucking worse than it already was. It was going to be a bleak winter. The energy crisis was going to be off the scale. I've just felt this like unease. And so I made the decision against all odds, like we were in a real moment of lack and not everything was on our side, made the decision to go to Costa Rica and take ourselves out of this reality and put ourselves in a different reality. And now that we've come back, this reality has changed. Why? Because our perspective has changed. Living in London is exactly the same as it was before, but my reflection of it and how I respond to it has changed, right? Okay, let's get into the nitty gritty. I'm going to give you 3 perspective shifts around being human and 3 perspective shifts around being an energetic being, in the hope that you can kind of take that information and it really moves something for you in your physical reality, right? In your life right now. Being a human, number 1, you're flawed. And the sooner that you make peace with that, the better. Just being a human means you are flawed, means that you make mistakes, means that you piss people off, means that you sometimes do things that are not great, means that sometimes you won't like yourself. We have to accept that because we're human. Otherwise, you're trapping yourself in a perpetual cycle of self-judgment and also trying to be perfect, which just does not exist, right? It doesn't exist. And that's what's keeping a lot of people stuck, right? This endless criticism, like self-criticism, this endless judgment. And notice how you're also criticizing the outside world and judging the outside world as you do that, because everything is a mirror, right? Or you've trapped yourself in like an endless healing loop where you feel like you can't go ahead and make this change in your life because you've still got lots to resolve. There's loads of like childhood stuff to resolve, or there's lots of stuff with the mother wound that we need to resolve. Like, you are going to be healing forever, and you're still not going to heal everything. Every single human being has so much baggage. We have so much baggage because we live in a world that creates it, that creates these conditionings, that creates these stories, that creates these reflections of us. And we hold on to them, and that becomes our personality, right? That becomes our inner drama. Detach from the drama. I thought, what if you can do that one thing effortlessly, easily, continuously, consistently, detach from the drama that your inner world is constantly bringing to your awareness? If you can do that, then you can do anything, honestly. And this is one of the core principles that comes into my one-to-one work with clients, right? And this is why it's a 6-month container one-to-one, because it takes time to sift through all of that and be like, detach, 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 right? And at the beginning, I do it for you. I reflect it to you, right? Anyone who's my client knows that. I'm always like, ditch the drama. Where's the drama coming from? And by the end, you get to do it by yourself, right? So what's your favorite story? Like right now, what is the story that you have on repeat right now? What's your favorite story to tell yourself or about your situation? If you feel called to share, I'd love you to share. I'll share mine. Like currently one of my favorite stories, and like, trust me, we never get rid of the drama fully. I've been doing this work for over 10 years. It's been my life's work. This is like what I love doing. Yeah, I still get caught in the drama. Like my current favorite story is that people don't like my big energy, right? They don't understand my big energy. They don't understand who I am, and they're actually afraid of it, right? Like that's if you can feel my energy. I have a confidence, right? But there's insecurity in there. Obviously, if I'm worried that people don't understand my energy. And this is something that I'm growing through, right? And growing into. And I'm realizing that, yeah, there are people that don't like my big energy. There are people that are afraid of my energy because my energy shifts people very quickly. It triggers people, right? If they're not into this kind of work, or they don't actively choose to choose to be in one of my containers or sign up for one of my masterclasses, intentionally be in my space, I can be very triggering for people because I shift your perspective so much that you're like, whoa, that makes me feel uncomfortable. Whoa, that's brought up a lot of fear, right? So it's true. I'm making peace with that. That's something that I'm moving through. No one's shared. I've shared and no one else is sharing. That's really not fair, guys. Share. Come on. No, I'm not going to make you share. But just know, like, we all have our shit, right? We all have our stuff. So the quicker that you get on board with the fact that you're a human, meaning you're flawed, the better, right? The more that you're going to get from your life. And detaching from the stories is all part of really understanding that your stories are stories. They're not really who you are. Who you really, really are at your core. Like if you strip everything away, like when your human dies, the core of who you are is you're this energetic intelligence that's limitless, that has pure potentiality. Your potential right now as a human, when I say to people, right, let's liberate your potential, let's liberate your potential, right? Let's fucking see what you're capable of. They're like, what? Because your human sees your potential as really just of what the projection of what everyone says you're capable of, being a woman, being a man, being a black woman, being a black man, being a white person, being from a certain place in the world, being from a certain, generation, being from a certain background, these limitations. But you're limitless. You have pure potential. Detach from the stories because they've happened. Also, they're done with. That's in the past. Don't get lost in them. And of course, when I work with people on a one-to-one level, we go into those stories, but only when it's important. We go from, we're here at A, where do we want to get to? We want to get to B, right? Let's get moving. What's coming up as we're going on that journey? Okay, we'll deal with that and we'll detach from that. But we don't need to continuously try and heal ourselves and try and make ourselves better. Okay, number 2. Your ability to have a choice, to make a decision, is your greatest gift of liberation, right? It's like such a gift to have a choice. And most people don't make choices, don't make decisions, are too afraid to make decisions, are too afraid to choose differently, right? Freedom's been a big thing for us over the last 3 years, right? Since we all got told to stay in our houses forever and took away our freedom, took away the fact that we could even hug our loved ones, right? And it's one of my key values. Freeing myself from my limiting thoughts, my limiting emotions, my limiting ways of being. Freeing myself from the discomfort that I feel in my life. Like, it's all my choice. It's all your choice. Not making decisions, especially difficult decisions, is taking away your own freedom. You're incarcerating yourself into a situation that you don't feel good in, right? Am I making you feel uncomfortable? Told you that's what I do. But I do it from a place of love, right? Being afraid to make the decision, to make a choice, is why you're not making the choice, right? You might convince yourself it's for something else, but all in all, it comes down to safety. But not making a choice is keeping you stuck. Not making a decision is keeping you stuck, right? And when you make a choice, okay, it might be the wrong choice. You might get it wrong. You might totally fuck things up. At least you've made a choice, right? I'm just going to let there's people coming in. At least you've made a choice. Because then from that place, whatever happens then, you're free to make another choice and another choice and another choice. And some of your choices and decisions might end you up in a dead end. So you have to pivot and make a different choice. But if you didn't make a decision and a choice in the first place, you won't be going anywhere. That's what's creating this feeling of stuckness, this feeling of frustration, this feeling of like, ugh. You decide what to experience in your life and what you don't want to experience. It's not always an easy choice. It's not always an easy decision, but that choice is yours. It takes courage, but the choices and the decisions with the most courage needed are the ones that are going to give you the biggest miracles, right? The ones that are going to give you the most back. And it's also really important to remember, like what I was saying before in the previous, in part 1, in number 1, is like, notice how you're coding that choice, what energy you're bringing to that choice. If you make a choice out of fear, you're going to be gifted more fear. If you make a choice out of courage, you're going to be gifted more courage. Life always gives you what you want. It's your mirror. Life always gives you what you ask for. And you're always asking for things with your energy. You can be asking for things with your words, but the energy that's coded those words is what's really asking. Yeah? Life wants to support you. There's a huge collective belief that we're not supported by life, right? I used to have that belief. that like life, God, things just don't work out for me. Things don't work out for me. I'll try, but things don't work out for me. Well, then that's the energy we're putting out there. I had a client who had a belief that every time something good happened to them, it was always followed by something bad. So what happened? Something good would happen, and then something bad would happen. And she would be perpetually in this cycle of the same situation until she realized she was in charge of that. She was in control of that. Right? There's that control word again. She's in control of it. And when she shifted, when we looked at where that limiting situation was coming from, where that limiting thought process was coming from, and that limiting belief was coming from, and we cleared it energetically from her body, right? Then she started to believe that good things happen to me. Good things can happen to me. Life is supporting me. And then everything opened up for her, right? She was able to like move forwards. And instead of moving forwards and taking 2 steps back, she was moving forwards with momentum. So much shifted in her life. But more importantly, so much shifted for her inside. She was just at ease. How fucking awful is it to walk around thinking every time something good's going to happen, something bad's going to happen? You're going to limit yourself in everything that you do. A lot of the work that I do with people, and this work that you can also do on your own, right? This work, it's not just about seeing what can shift on the outside, right? And bringing forth and manifesting things in your life. Of course, amazing. But it's more about how it feels on the inside. That suffering that we talked about, that frustration, that fear, that believing something good and then something bad's going to happen. Imagine feeling at ease in your body. Imagine feeling satisfied with your life. Imagine feeling joyful. Like, I can honestly, hand on heart, say that especially for the last 6 months, when I've been really intentional with this work, even though I've been doing this for years, but I've been on my own path, really intentional with it, I felt joyous for the entire time. And even when shit gets real and things get hard and I'm faced with difficult things, the undercurrent of everything is ease and joy. Believe me, because I know that I can handle it. I know that I have the tools to walk my human through that shit. And I know that I have like limitless potential in the form of my energy and the tools within my energy to support my human to walk through that. Life is always going to give us stuff to deal with. This is another like bullshit conception that we're given by like the spiritual new age community of like, life is just easeful and joyful when we focus on the positive. No, life is gonna have bad stuff. Life is going to have bad stuff, but it's how we respond to it. And it's how we let it get into us, right? That's the key, or not get into us, as the case may be, right? Right, so that's number 2. The third and final kind of perception shift around being human. Discomfort is growth. So stop hiding from it. It's there anyway. It's going to be there, and you're just going to prolong the pain, the discomfort. Feel it, intentionally face it. That's going to support you to move through it more quickly. What was it I was saying about leaving time on the table? Your most precious commodity. Stop fighting growth because it feels uncomfortable. Know that you're made for it. We're meant to evolve. We're meant to change, right? Like, I have this kind of out there theory that about time, right? That like time is a man-made concept, right? But it's our most precious commodity. And that we're always unconsciously trying to stop time. We're trying to stop our aging. We're trying to stop time running away from us because it's the one thing that we can't stop. And actually, unconsciously, one way of doing that is by keeping ourselves looped in the same old shit. It's by keeping ourselves stuck in the same old patterns, right? That's how intelligent your mind is, your psyche is, right? Time is going to move no matter what. Wouldn't you rather be doing more of what feels good for you in that time than being stuck because it feels uncomfortable? Acknowledging discomfort gives you the awareness that you need to move through it. You're so intelligent. You have such wisdom in your body. When we can come into the body and feel the discomfort that we're feeling, it gives us the answers that we need to come out of it. When we're dissociated, which most people are, numbing ourselves, drugs, alcohol, TV, gossip, all the things, shopping, whatever addictions we have, phones, like I'm guilty of this. We're just keeping ourselves stuck, right? And we're keeping ourselves away from the wisdom that we hold in our body. Wisdom that the mind doesn't have. Because again, the mind is just playing out the same old things. It's giving you wisdom based on past experiences. It's giving you wisdom based on instinct, not intuition. Your body holds your energy, holds that divine intelligent part of you, holds that wisdom that your mind doesn't have. It transcends that human experience, that intuition. It's not coming from a survival-based instinct. It's coming from a limitless potential of your divine intelligent energy, right? Don't get lost in the pain either, right? That's the other kind of nuance here. Yeah, feel the discomfort, but take the lesson, detach, and move on forwards. So this is where a lot of people get stuck. So those of you that are into your energy, are into your healing, and are into understanding how you can transmute and move forwards, sometimes so many healers are guilty of this. And I was guilty of this, like go back a good few years, and I was guilty of this. You're just getting stuck in the healing. You're getting stuck in the discomfort because like there is magic in that discomfort. And sometimes that's really alluring, right? To be like, oh, I can learn this from it and I can learn this from it. Take the fucking knowledge and move forwards, right? And growth is natural and it's always occurring. And the more that you learn to move through it, the less discomfort you're actually going to feel because you're getting your human on board, right? You're programming a new habit. Oh, I feel discomfort. This is where I'm at. Like people think I'm weird that I like love a bit of discomfort. I love feeling that there's a bit of resistance in my body because I know it's time for growth and I know it's time for change. And that's exciting to me. Because again, that potential is limitless, right? At this point. You'd be able to do it with more ease. So just know that whatever life throws at you, you can handle it. You have everything you need within you to handle it. So those are 3 perspective shifts around your human. Let me know how that feels to you. I'm getting caught into I'm looking at the comments and I'm getting stuck. See, this is what I'll do. I'll just like spend hours reading it. I'll come to that at the end. But thank you. Keep posting in there. Keep telling me how you're feeling, right? Tell me how that's landed with you, that concept of like human, your human part of you. Can I repeat the 3 points, Rhonda? Yeah, you're going to get this as a replay, but the first one is you're flawed. The sooner that you make peace with that, the better. And that's about detaching from like all the pain and all the stories. The second is that your choice, the ability to make a choice is your greatest gift of liberation. And so by ignoring that and not making decisions and all of those things, you're actually keeping yourself small. And the third is the discomfort is growth. I'm going to move into the 3 perspective shifts around your energy now, kind of already into an hour. We're going to be another like 20 minutes or so, right? So number 1, your energy, your energetic version of you, your divine intelligence is no better than your human. We have a spiritual ego that makes us feel as though if we're spiritual, if we're always connected to our energy, we're better off. We're better. We know more than those people that are stuck in their human, right? I've been in these spiritual circles for a long time, and that spiritual ego is the worst. And we all go through it. I've been through it. We all do go through it. It's part of that awakening into who you are, because you start feeling that power of that magic within you, and you're like, shit, yeah, this feels good. I know, so I've got something that other people don't know about. It's really important for me that we all know about it, because it's all there for everyone. No one is better than anybody else. We're all just different, right? But your energy, your spiritual energy, is no better than your human body, than your human, right? Your human body is so intelligent, right? And it's the vehicle that drives your energy around on earth. You wouldn't get anything done without your body. You wouldn't be able to create at all if you weren't in a body. That's why your energy's chosen to be, your soul has chosen to be in physical form, is that it can do all of these incredible things, that it can be out in nature, that it can touch, right? Like even the most basic of things. Without your body, you would not be experiencing the magic of life. And so many humans treat their body with such disregard. So many humans don't understand the physical process of actually processing energy in the body and grounding it. Like I went through this process with one of my clients recently where, you know, she was like, I want this abundance to come through in my life, right? Cutting a long story short, like I have these creative projects, but they're not fully coming to, they're not fully like happening. What's going on? And it's because her body she wasn't grounded into her body, and her body wasn't grounded into the earth. And the only way that we can make things manifest is by grounding it into reality. Like we can't create from energy. We can create from energy within our multidimensional fields. When we close our eyes and we imagine that red ball, it's there, it's created in my, but I can't create that with my physical being until I go to the shop and I buy that red ball, right? Like there is so much that we can't do without our physical body. So just be aware of how you're mistreating your human, right? Because on an unconscious level, there's so much there around not being good enough, not loving yourself enough, not feeling enough, not feeling that you're good enough, not validated yourself enough, not feeling worthy, right? And not acknowledging your full human and all the shit that comes with it. You know, like I said, that we're flawed. Like you just end up spiritually bypassing everything and actually stopping yourself from making change and grounding in change, because you can only ground in change when you bring it into the body and you take action in a different way. So it's one thing to be up here and in the ethers and knowing that there's a new earth 5D reality where that's based on love, where our children are safe and we're, you know, we all love each other and everyone is one and everyone's connected. Like I said at the beginning, that's never going to happen until you actually ground that into your body and start taking the action in that way. That's the only way it's going to happen. The second perspective shift around your energy is we all understand IQ. We all understand emotional intelligence. Now we're in that world where most people are going through therapy or they understand it. What about energetic intelligence, right? Energetic intelligence is a key component and a huge missing piece to being able to feeling at ease in life, right? When you get to know who you are as an energy and how to move through life as an energy, you get to move like energy. You get to be that limitless potential. You get to experience the miracle. So this might feel like a really intangible concept, right? But let me put it like this. Having emotional intelligence is having awareness of how you move as energy, right? That you're a frequency, that you're a vibration, and that everything around you is a frequency and a vibration. And when people are speaking to you, they could be projecting their energy onto you, projecting their thoughts onto you, projecting their feelings onto you. And as much as that's happening as a physical thing of like them speaking to you and saying, I feel sad, what's also could be happening is you could be energetically taking that sadness. This is what empaths do. You're energetically taking that, unconsciously taking that sadness from somebody, and you're holding on to it because there's a belief somewhere that you need to do that, right? Especially if as a child you used to do, this is what I used to do. As a child, I used to do that with my parents. I used to want to take away their pain and take away their sadness. And so I'd do it energetically. I couldn't do it in a physical form because I was just a child. But I always knew that I was energy. And so unconsciously I was doing it with my energy. And then I was holding, you end up then holding other people's projected emotions and projected energy in your field. No wonder you feel stressed. No wonder you feel sad. No wonder you feel like you're trudging through mud, right? Because you're carrying all this energy that isn't yours. On the flip side, where are you leaking your energy? Where are you just literally wasting energy? Gossip is one of those things, right? Focusing on the drama is leaking energy, right? Just really getting involved with like the real human shit that doesn't matter when you detach from it. You're leaking energy. You can even be leaking energy when people are taking advantage of you. People can feel you, even if like most people don't know how to move through the world as an energy, they're still moving through the world as an energy. They're still leaking their energy. They're still taking on energy that isn't theirs, right? And that affects you in your everyday life. How and why? Because it affects your emotions. Your energy affects your emotions. It affects the way you think. It affects the amount of energy you have to do things, right? So just take a note of like what's going on in your life right now. How much of what you're feeling is yours? And how much is what you've taken on from others, society, projections? How much of your own energy is being used for you in your body to cultivate your life and your reality? And how much of it is leaking all over the shop because your attention span is too short or you're giving too much to other people? When you can learn to move through the world with energetic intelligence, fully understanding how you individually move. Everybody moves differently. Everybody uses their energy differently. It's unique. It's amazing. That's why it's amazing. It's so unique. But when you don't look at yourself in that way, and that's why being in a container with somebody like me that can see your energy, like I see people's energy is the first thing I see. It's the first thing I end up reading. I don't read their emotions or read how they're actually being. I just read their energy. When you can start to do that for yourself, can you imagine like what a leg up you've got, like how efficient you're being in your life when you can be like, that person is actually really fucking draining. I can't be in that situation. And it's not always about like cutting them out. Like there's nuance to things, right? It's about how much effort you put into that situation. So does that make sense? Energetic intelligence. I love this. Yes, Sharifa. Like energetic intelligence is like one of life's best kept secrets. And for me, is when you know how to move through life as an intelligent, energetic energy being, like you can't but win in life. You can't but win in life. So any questions around that? Because that is a huge topic. And that is something that when I work with people one-to-one and on an in-depth level, like you naturally start to learn the processes of energetic intelligence, because that's all I reflect back at you. I'm like, let's look at how your energy is dealing with this. Let's look at what your energy is responding to here. And so then you start to think in a way of energy. And so then you're already like cutting out the bullshit. You're not getting trapped in the drama because you're bypassing the drama, because you don't need the drama, right? The drama's been and gone. What you need to do is get really efficient with how to move through the world. The third and final perspective shift with energy is learning how to live in energetic integrity. What do I mean by that? Like always being in your highest self, meaning always acting in your highest regard, right? Always coming from the best place possible, unconditionally pouring love into everything and everyone at all times, which we can find really difficult. But that is such a powerful way to live, because it always means that you're leading with your cleanest, clearest, highest energy. So as I said, life's always responding to you. If you're giving into life, if you're giving to life from that space, from the highest of integrities, is that a saying? Probably not. Like if you're always in that, if you're always regarding everything with your highest level of understanding, life's always going to reflect that back to you. So no matter what you're facing, if you're like, right, what would the best version of me do here? You could be caught up in the drama of like having an argument with a sibling or a family member, or just like stuff going on with friends, and you could get lost in that. Well, she said this and he did this and life's like this, and or like you can waste your time there, or you can go, okay, if I was to see everyone in their highest regard now, and if I was to act in my highest regard, if I was to see everyone through the lens of unconditional love and see myself through the lens of unconditional love, how would I respond? What would I do here? Right? How would things work out for me? Just pause and figure that out, right? Come into your energetic integrity. It's such a powerful tool. And a lot of why people feel stuck or frustrated or scared to move forwards is because they're not in the realms of their highest integrity. Yeah. They're not showing up in their highest integrity, meaning they're not showing up in their highest truth. They're not speaking that truth, right? You're performing in life how you're expected to perform. You're doing all the things that the people think you should be doing. Your parents, society, whatever, blah, 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 blah. We've gone over that. You're doing what's expected of you, not what's in your potential, until you come into your highest integrity at all times. And if you respond to life with that, life's going to respond back to you in the same way. Even if it's a difficult, like I said, life's going to give you difficulties. But what if it gave you difficulties in a way that you could respond to much more easily because you were in this higher state of mind, right? And this all points to everything being your responsibility as well, which is something that a lot of people don't like to take on, right? Because that really puts their victim out of a job. And a lot of people like to be in their victim. I have at times loved being in my victim. It feels comforting because it's what we know, right? And we know how we feel in there. We can feel sorry for ourselves in there. But actually, it's our responsibility to get ourselves out of this stuff. And just as a additional piece, like boundaries is a huge piece of this puzzle, right? Of this integrity puzzle, energetic boundaries, what you will and what you won't allow in your life. And that is a huge topic in itself. And so many people are like, Maria, I don't even know what boundaries are. But just like with one of my clients recently, she has her own business and her boundaries, they weren't watertight. And then one of her clients in her business just took so much of her time, took so much of her energy, took so much of her time that she wasn't paying for, right? And everything is an energetic exchange. When you pay for something, it's just an exchange. Yeah. You're paying me with your time right now. And I'm giving you this information. Like everything is just an exchange, but that boundary wasn't watertight. It was leaking all over the shop. And so this woman just kept taking and taking and taking. And she felt awful afterwards. She could have sat in that awfulness and been like, oh God, I feel awful. But working with me, I don't allow that. I'm like, okay, what does that awfulness tell you? What does that feeling tell you? It's telling you your boundaries need to shift in some way. And what can we do here? I watched the Baz Luhrmann Elvis recently. Have you watched that film about Elvis? Oh my God, I love Elvis. A, he's really fucking hot, dead, but hot. B, just his, Adrian's really laughing. Thanks, Adrian. B, like the way he performed, right? The truth that he spoke, like if you know his story, go and watch the film. It's amazing. Like the way he performed in this way that was so displeasing to most of society. He was in his purest truth. He was in his divine intelligent energy, right? And it was firing through him as he performed, right? But he couldn't get a hold of his hand of his human. He couldn't get a hold of it. People felt his energy was big and it was amazing and it was miraculous and it was incredible. So they took advantage of it. They siphoned off his energy, right? His manager in particular, this is what I'm talking about, took advantage of him. And when he couldn't perform in the way that he wanted to, he had to numb himself because it just wasn't true to him. And he lost who he was. He lost part of his soul. He lost part of his energy. But then when he was in his power, people would, vampires taking it away from him, right? Notice in your life, when you're in your power, when you're in your truth, when you're doing something that means so much to you, because why fucking live life if you're not going to do things that mean so much to you? Like I said, time, precious commodity, it's running out. Do the things that you really want to do, but just notice, have your energetic integrity lenses on and be like, okay, does this feel good? What's going on around me? Is it being received in the right way? Are people leeching that off me? What's going on with my energy here? It's honestly a superpower to have that kind of awareness of yourself, of your human, and of your energy. It's like, I can't explain with words the power of it, but you will get to feel certain in your life. You will get to feel at ease in your life. You will get to feel joy in your life. You will always come home to yourself. You'll be your own biggest fan, your own best friend, and you will guide yourself towards the things that you know are meant for you. And you'll live out your highest potential. Woo. So I really hope that all of those perspective shifts and that understanding of human and energy and how to bring them together, that small peak, like there are so many more perspective shifts available to you. And the amazing thing is that they're unique to everybody, right? Which is why I work predominantly one-on-one with people. But before we go into the Q&A, as I said in the beginning, I just wanted to take some time to say that if you're intrigued by this work, if this is something that you want to delve deeper into so that you can start understanding your human and your energy with more depth, with more nuance, so that you can make better changes in your life, so that you can take better actions, then the next step would be to book a complimentary energy consult with me. It's 60 minutes. It's complimentary, but it's the precursor to working with me one-to-one. There's no commitment to having to work with me afterwards, one-to-one, not at all. But what you're going to get from that 60-minute consult is so much, right? We'll connect, we'll speak. It's 60 minutes, so it's quite a long time. And we'll look at where you're at now. I'll get you to speak to me about where you're at, get you to talk to me about where you want to be and all the things in between. And I'm going to read your energy as you do that. And then I'm going to translate that back to you. And I'm going to reflect back to you all of those unseen patterns, ways of being, human aspects, energetic elements that you're missing that's impacting that journey that you're trying to take. And I'm going to show you and give you some pointers that you can take away with you and implement on your own from how to get from A to B using your energy, using your most valuable essence. And you can take that away, like I said, and implement it on your own. Like you get to have that and it's complimentary. Or if you want support to do it with me, then we can talk about that, right? And working with me is where I get to teach you how to do what I do with you at the beginning, how to teach you to do that on your own. Like that is priceless, honestly. It's just being able to move through your life, understanding how you're an energy, understanding how you're a human, understanding how you can shift your own perspectives and bring the two in alignment. Teach yourself how to process change, teach yourself how to process your energy, end up doing it effortlessly and joyfully so that you can actually start living the life that you want to, right? Oh, it's like my favorite thing to talk about. Anyway, I'm going to put the link to book a consult call with me if you want. There in the chat. Sorry, I'm reading messages again. I get so distracted. So it's there. And we can dive into some questions now. If you have questions about what it means to work with me, if you have questions about anything that I've said, pop them into the chat now, and I'm going to go through. But thank you so much for watching to this point. Like, incredible. So here we go. What have we got? Yes, thank you for always reminding me to detach from the drama and staying in the highest. And it feels so good here. Yes, Sharifa. Sharifa's currently working with me one-to-one. So she knows how it feels. I'm making the best decisions for my life here at my highest and reminding me that I can step into my highest at any time. Exactly. It's all in your control. It's all a decision that you make. Adrian's written that I'm letting people down is my current one. That's your current story, right? That lovely story that we like to tell ourselves. So I did ask during the call, like, what is the main story that you like to tell about yourself and how is that impacting your life? And I'm going to guess, Adrian, that what you're seeing reflected in your life is you letting people down because you have that belief, right? That there's elements of like people coming to you and maybe saying, well, I'm not happy with this or I'm not happy with that. That judgment upon yourself. When you can clear that up and just know that, what did I say? We're human, we're flawed. We're going to let people down at times. It's not the essence of who you are, and it's not what you're going to be doing all of the time. When you can like let go of that and be kind to yourself and come into your highest regard and be like, do I want to be letting people down? No, I'm not doing it from a place of wanting to let people down. And Adrian, I know you. That's the last thing that you want to be doing, is letting people down, right? And the irony is that's what you're believing about yourself. So that's really interesting. Growing pains are hard, but so worth the results. Yes, growing pains are hard. And we're not talking about spiritually bypassing that feeling of discomfort in growth. We're talking about learning how to dive into it without getting lost in it, without getting lost in the hard and the pain, right? And shifting our perspective on what's hard is also like really key. It's hard because life's told us it's hard. It's hard because our conditionings have told us that growing pains are hard, that difficulty in life is hard. Difficulty in life is just difficulty in life. It's neutral. It happens to all of us all of the time at any given moment. That belief that it's hard is what makes it hard. If we can believe that our growing pains are signposts to our freedom, they're going to feel like signposts to our freedom. Yeah, you see the shift. I've repeated those 3 points. Anna, I have to go, but thank you. Oh, I'll read over my notes this evening and answer your prompts. First time thinking about all these questions, and so useful to start zone in on my actions and choices. Anna, thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad there's been some shifts. Rhonda, how to maintain a powerful activated frequency baseline and aura to attract abundance. So that comes from mainly understanding you're human, knowing that your human is flawed, right? knowing that we all have stories from our past. We all have ways of being. We all have trauma from our past. We all have ancestral stuff running through our lineages, right? They don't define us. They're not who we are. When you can detach from that and then attach to, and when I say attach, connect to your highest version of self in every given moment, that's when you'll be able to maintain a powerfully activated frequency baseline to attract the abundance, because you are going to be feeling the abundance within you. When we're stuck in stories, we're not in an abundant space. We're not in an abundant energy. We're in an energy of lack, of scarcity, of pain, of fear, of anxiety, of whatever those stories are. When we connect to our highest aspect of self, that part of us that is limitless, that energetic part of us that is abundant always, just because it is, when we run that through our body, that's when you'll be attracting it in your life. Does that make sense, Rhonda? Let me know if you want to go deeper on that, because that's a big one. Working with you one-to-one, Maria, has been the best thing that I did for myself. You are the best, and thankful to you. Thankful to you, Sharifa. And I say this every time, like everyone that I work with, even when I just do a consult and it doesn't go into like full working one-to-one mode, it brings me so much, because it's a reflection of me. Working with you is a reflection to me, and vice versa. So I grow just as much as you grow. So every one-to-one container that I move through with somebody, I'm learning something, I'm growing, I'm changing. And like I said at the beginning, I love change. Like, I love it. I love transformation. I find it exciting. You know, I can move through it really quickly. And sometimes people are like, whoa, how do you move through it so quickly? Like, energy moves at the speed of light, like it's good. Energy moves so quickly. You can definitely shift your energy in a moment. Shifting your human is a different thing, right? And it's a different flavor of working with your human. And that's why I really wanted to bring both human and energy into this call, so that you got a sense of the difference, and so that you could understand how to bring the two of them together. So thank you for being here. If there's any more questions, pop them in. Otherwise, I want to leave you with that, with the consult call. So if you want to take it deeper, know that you can connect with me free. We'll have an energy chat. We'll have an energy consultation, and I'll support you to see how you can get from A to B with your energy in mind, with your human in mind, right? Bringing it all together. And you can take that away with you if you will, or we can talk more in depth about working more deeply one-to-one. But for the moment, I'm loving the time traveling. I'll be more aware and doing that more. Yes, time travel is incredible. We can all do it. And if you've only just jumped on, you need to rewind the video and go to the beginning. I had a couple of light bulbs I'll have to share. Yes. You want to share anything now? Little one? Before we jump off. But if not, you can share privately, Adrian.
I can. I don't want to take up your call.
Oh, do it. Tell us.
Well, the letting me down, as you were responding to that, I said, oh no, I think I'm letting myself down, as it's always a mirror. And when you were talking about empath and picking up people's energy, I've had a weird, like, I've got a client that I do a lot of work for, like, it's keeping me so busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had this weird feeling like it's just all going to go away. And I was like, no, I feel really positive that, like, I've cleared that for the most part. Like, I don't really feel that anymore, but I don't know why it's so prevalent constantly. But it's a weird feeling of scarcity that doesn't, like, I know it's not true. I know it's not true. And so where's this feeling come from? And you said that, and I was like, oh, it's not mine.
Mm-hmm. It's hers. You're taking her.
It's hers.
Yeah. So you can see like
Yeah.
that, you can see how like you can walk through everyday life, and without that awareness, you might start creating a belief that you're in scarcity and lack, even though that's so not the truth, right? And it's
Yeah.
somebody else's energy that you're bringing on. Thank you for sharing that, Adrian. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if anyone else wants
It's
to share, oh, is Toby there?
but
Hello.
Toby is here. He's being there he is.
Hi, doggy. Hi,
Toby.
Toby.
He's
If anyone has anything else they want to like literally jump on and have some chat around, like I'm more than happy to stay on and do a bit of that. If anyone else feels as though that's what they want to do, some random energy chat. If not, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening till the end. And I can't wait to see you again sometime soon, wherever that may be. Lots of love, everyone. Bye.